I am Alexander, founder of CompareThePodcast.com.au, where we compare podcasts from iTunes. At present, Bounty Hunter Banter has very few iTunes reviews and is currently wedged between podcasts about antique Russian nesting dolls and show about unicorns doing horrible things to each other. Bounty Hunter Banter needs 10 seconds of your help. Please go to iTunes, search for your favorite beer and pop culture podcast, leave review and 5 stars. For information about horny unicorns and Russian dolls, come to CompareThePodcast.com.au. For hilarious beer and pop culture banter, please visit iTunes or bhbanter.com.au. Simples.
Welcome back to Bounty Hunter Banter for your regular dose of beer and pop culture. I'm Dan, and I'm joined with the one and only Pete for today.
Howdy.
Unfortunately, Chris can't make it today. He had a late night at work, we think. Either that or he got very drunk after work and couldn't drag his ass out of bed at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning.
Although daylight savings did kick in this morning, so he lost an hour of recovery.
Just about to say that we'd lost an extra hour of sleep, so I only got like 4 hours myself, so... I just want to start off by saying thanks to everybody that came down to the Pump House a couple of weeks ago for our the Pump House World 8 Grand Prix and our launch of our World 8 Peach and Raspberry Sour. It was great to talk to a whole bunch of people from the industry again. We had a great night, and thanks to everybody that listens to the podcast that came and said hello and gave us some feedback. Thankfully, it was all good. Said they were really enjoying listening to it. So thanks to all the guys that did that. We really appreciate it. And make sure if you come down to more events, please pull us aside, have a chat. We really love talking to you guys because, I mean, without you guys listening, we would just be probably still recording, but talking to ourselves and wouldn't give us as much motivation to keep doing what we do. So on the podcast side and on the beer side. So thank you very much to everybody. Thanks to all the industry people, and thanks to Phil and Sophie for letting us take over their top level and bring a whole bunch of industry people down for the evening. It all went very well, and congratulations to Moondog, who were the industry winners, and the Pink Flamingos team for winning the massive loot bag that all the industry guys dropped in. So,
there were some good names on the night too in terms of the teams. I think there was Chode Blast.
Yeah.
The Blue Waffles.
Blue Waffles, Pink Flamingos.
That's probably the tamest in terms of sexual connotation. So yeah. It was good. At least you can put them up on social media and not worry about the...
exactly. Yeah.
the fallout.
Don't have to worry about the fallout from that.
I just wanted to also, while we're on the topic, just say a quick, really big thanks to everyone that joined us on the podcast on the night. It was really cool to get a couple of live opinions. I had a great chat with a few of the guys. Quite a lot of recurring guests. We had Alistair... we had Tom, we had from Uncle Hops, we had Chris, came in and out a couple of times. He was mostly annoying us while we were doing it.
Even when he wasn't on the microphone?
He was screaming. Can't tell you how hard it was to edit his voice out in the background. Who else did we have? We had Brad Bishop and his friend... that's going to bug me. I'm really sorry, dude. I walked straight into that, didn't I? We had Justin from Craft Beer Crew. We had Doc from Doctor's Orders. And we had Mark... Chris's brother.
And James.
And I just wanted to say a huge personal thanks to James. He spent most of the night sitting there guarding the gear so I could walk around and talk to people.
And making sure nobody tripped over microphone cords.
Yeah. So huge thanks to you too, James. Thanks, mate.
Cool. Thanks, everyone, again. So today we have another beer from Hop Nation, the Damned Pilsner, 4.8%. Hop Nation's from Victoria. We have then 3 international guests. We have Omnipollo and Buxton, Original Ice Cream Pale Ale. They're from the UK. That's a collaboration.
You're not looking forward to that one, Dan.
I am so not looking forward to that one. 5.6%. We have another one from Buxton Brewery, not a collaboration, just their standard one. Trolltunga. It's a Gooseberry Sour IPA, 6.3%. And Amager, Anager. Anger? They're from Denmark, so there's probably some way to pronounce it.
Undoubtedly.
And Wicked Weeds Brewing from the US, a collaboration there. And I didn't write down what it was, but that's the Mandarin Man. That's the the fruity IPA. I'll read the bottle when we get it out. That's at 7%. So we have, straight off the bat, we have Hop Nation, the Damned Pilsner. I love these guys.
Yeah,
I really do. I mean,
I just saw the bottle and recognized the label, and I went, "Fuck it, we're going to try the whole everything I can find from Hop Nation. I just want to try it all now."
And that is exactly the type of Pilsner I like.
Yeah, and we've never tried a Pilsner on the show, I don't think. I'm almost certain we haven't.
No, I would very much doubt we've tried very many lagers at all.
I was going to say, I don't think we've tried any other lagers either.
But it's nice and dry and crisp and really spicy New Zealand hop character there.
Yeah, you can smell the resin on it.
Yeah, it's a really, really good Pilsner. It's slightly goldeny color, light white foam, but a really, really good example of a New World Pilsner style. Really good. Really, really good. So they just keep going to strength for me. I just really enjoy everything they've been putting out at the moment. So we'll
just enough bitterness to make it crisp without overpowering it.
Oh, you know what? I'm down in Melbourne next week. Where are they? I think I read they're in Footscray. Yeah, they are. Yeah, nice. Okay, well I might source those guys out if they actually have a venue.
What's the IBU on
check
it?
them out. I don't know. I don't think it says.
I was reading on the plane. It was the only book I had, and I've been meaning to read it for a while. Is Guide to Tasting Beer, which is kind of like the Cicerone course book.
By
I don't remember who it's by.
Yeah, I've got it on the bookshelf inside.
The forward basically said they never set out to write a Cicerone course guide, but that's kind of what it ended up being as a de facto book for that.
Okay, mine doesn't say that. So
well, it's second edition, so he's rewritten a forward for it. It's a really interesting book, and I was going through. He's talking about how to taste beer and how to change your vocabulary and how the brain works in terms of processing smells and taste and all the rest of it. And one of the interesting things I saw or read was it takes up to 60 seconds for bitterness to register fully. Yeah. So when you're tasting a beer, you really need to give it a chance to develop the bitterness before you kind of articulate.
100%. And that's why when we're judging, we don't spit beer out like wine drinkers spit wine out, because there's always that after follow-on effect. And we've done it subconsciously on the podcast.
Yeah.
We've all talked about it and talked about how the flavors...
Chris made a point in the first episode of saying that he doesn't spit, so I assume that's what he meant.
I meant more of the flavor developing over time. We've sort of taken a mouthful, talked about it a little bit, and then all of a sudden, before we're about to go and do something else, one of us has gone, "Oh yeah, well that's now coming through." So
yeah, and I'm actually on this. I'm getting quite a lot of citrus at the end.
Yeah, all that's all coming from those New Zealand hops. I think it's probably Mochawaker or something. There might be some Nelson in there, but it's whatever it is really good. Really, really enjoyed it. It's
a good summery beer.
Yeah, it's pity it's in a bottle and not a can though.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen a Hop Nation bottle.
Exactly, yeah. So hopefully you can get that in cans too, because I'd be well onto that. That's really, really good. First sort of pop culture topic, you just watched it, so let's chat about the. I'm sure Chris will have some things to pipe in about this when he's back on. But the Punisher trailer for the Netflix Marvel Punisher series,
fucking epic,
absolutely amazing trailer. I mean, it was just one of the best trailers I've seen, not just for a TV show, but so well cut.
Full stop, yeah.
That music, like the choice of using Metallica's One, a song about a seriously PTSD affected person, about a TV show about a seriously PTSD affected person.
And timing wise, every part of
the edit of the trailer to go with a new edit of the song, just perfect. But even down to
the slow intro with the acoustic guitar and exploring kind of the backstory behind his losing his family.
Yeah, the emotional effect of that slow intro. And
then the straight into go fuck yourself kind of rage, which it matches the song perfectly.
Exactly, yeah. And the timing of slotting all the clips and
the bullets and
then the shots and then the trailer itself. I mean, the show looks amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it kind of reinforces something we've mentioned a couple of times, is just how much emotional reinforcement backing music has when you're watching something on TV.
Yeah.
And it really does set the tone perfectly for Punisher.
Yeah.
I can't fucking wait, to be honest.
Oh, nor can I. This is the first one where I've said to my wife Louise, if she doesn't want to binge watch it, she's going to have to catch up, because I'm a huge Punisher fan. I've got 2 Punisher skulls tattooed on my chest. Yeah. One on each.
That kind of makes you a big fan.
One on each shoulder, sort of collarbone size. Collarbone height.
No topless pics are going up on the website.
Yeah, no topless pictures are going up. But I mean, I've had them on there for fuck, 15 years or
long time.
more. I think that was probably the third tattoo I got.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, we're talking early. I was in my early 20s.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah, we're probably 15 years ago now. I've been a massive Punisher fan. I've read Punisher comics for a long time. I've got a whole bunch of them in my comic book chest over there. I haven't gone back to the Punisher in a while. So I'd like to get back into the Punisher Max comics, which are like the adult R-rated ones.
Yep.
So
it's the only way to watch it, to read it, right?
Yeah. But the gunplay in it, really, like, it's my favorite type of gunplay. It's that real John Wick.
Yeah.
Close quarters, fast moving.
And even down to I mean, you wouldn't notice of it if it wasn't absent, but if you watch the trailer, when he takes out the dude with he's got it looks like a submachine gun, like an MP5. It's not an MP5, it's something a little bit larger. But he puts a couple of rounds in the guy's legs, and then he twists it to use the iron sights, which are generally mounted on the side. So you generally have like a red dot scope on the top for mid range, and then an iron sight mounted on an angle. And he just twists it to put a couple of rounds in his head. And I thought stuff like that you wouldn't have noticed if he hadn't done it. But the fact that he did shows obviously they've gone some consulting for tactical combat for CQB. Is that what it's no CQ something close quarters combat CQC.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That was exactly the scene I was talking about. That's my favorite little thing, and they got Keanu Reeves to do a lot of that stuff in John Wick.
It makes you wonder some of these career actors as to how much weird and random shit they've learned to properly take on roles. Anyone who's done a military movie that has taken itself seriously with all the combat training, I know a lot of the actors go through. You've got some weapons walking around Hollywood, man.
You look at all the, like Keanu Reeves is a great example, all the proper kung fu training and weapons training he went through for The Matrix, and then all the hand-to-hand stuff. And, I mean, someone asked Matt Damon about it, and...
Matt Damon. Sorry.
I don't think anybody can get away with saying his name and not doing that.
He fucking hates it too. I've seen a couple of interviews.
I'm sure he does. He's got a great sense of humor, that guy, though. I do love him. Someone spoke to him about the fight scenes out of the Bourne series and how much he retained of that. And he goes, no, I could do a very specific set of moves for a very specific scene if someone came to me in a very specific way.
Okay.
So basically none of the stuff that he did there was retained, but watching some of the behind the scenes stuff, Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne and Carrie-Anne Moss trained proper kung fu.
It was for well over 12 months.
Long time, yeah. So some of that would have been retained, and they had just how well he moves at the age he is doing John Wick too, as well.
It shows that he's had training.
Exactly. He's still very, very limber and very capable of doing those hand to hands and all that gunplay stuff. It's even though obviously John Wick and Matrix are quite different.
Yeah. The only thing I associate, Keanu Reeves with the Matrix is the fact that he got paid $360 million US for the trilogy. And I remember being a 20-something-year-old hearing that for the first time, and it's like, what do you do with $360 million bucks? There isn't anything that you couldn't buy that, I'm short of maybe an island, but...
He's such a humble man, though, Keanu Reeves. I've got a big soft spot for him, and he went through a lot of trouble when The Matrix was being filmed. He lost his sister and then he lost his wife.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
okay.
he went through a real bad period there. I think it was after the first one or during filming of the first one.
Shit.
Real bad patch he went through. So and then he just kept going on, and I mean, obviously the money helps, but I'm sure that like any amount of money doesn't pull you out of a hole.
No, no.
So I mean, he's come back from doing that, and he's such a cool dude. I mean, you watch him on the interviews.
He's very down to earth on interviews,
and he's Bill and Ted. And like, and if they've mentioned about maybe doing another one of those, I mean, if they did another one of those, I'd love it. I'd go and see it just because seeing Keanu Reeves in interviews and knowing how much of the he actually is, to go and see him put that on again on film, I'd really.
I could actually see it as a Big Lebowski style. It would. I think that because it's kind of like the middle-aged pot smokers.
Yeah.
And I know they never really talked about pot in Bill and Ted, but it was kind of implied just with the style and the language. And,
yeah.
I wonder what Mike Myers is. Yeah, that'd be interesting actually having him.
Mike Myers?
Mike Myers
isn't in it.
Where's my head at? Why do I...
No, it's not Mike. I forget what the other guy's name is, but...
not Mike Myers.
No, definitely not Mike Myers.
I don't know where the fuck my head's at this morning.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a big deviation from Punisher trailer, but yeah, great.
Fucking looking forward to it.
Go and have a look at it. They haven't released a release date for it. There was rumors of 2018, but when they released the trailer, they had 2017 with the day and the month blacked out.
I'm pretty sure I thought it was like November-ish time frame.
I think that's been the guesstimate for it is November. We're in October now. Yeah. They haven't got much time left.
That's true.
So yeah, it'll be soon. But yeah, I mean, I'm onto that. As soon as it comes out, I'm absolutely 110% on it.
Yeah. Speaking of not having time frames, do we have the latest on when the Star Wars movie, the Han Solo movie's due out?
Who freaking knows?
Because they keep pushing it back. It was May 2018.
The change of directors and things like that. So
they're up to Ron Howard now, and I think we mentioned it very briefly in last fortnight's podcast with Tom on the show. It's going to have a very serious ending, or at least
who knows? I mean, those other guys got fired for doing too much. Well, the story goes for doing too much improv and making it too Ace Venturi. On set.
Warning: assholes are closer than they appear.
Yeah, I mean, why they even thought that was going to fly?
I don't know.
But yeah,
I mean, they sacked directors for the original trilogy for the same reason. I'm pretty sure Empire they went through one director before they got someone who was a lot more pliable. The George Lucas's.
No, well, the guy who directed it wrote it. I'm pretty sure. For Empire,
I think in the end, yes, but okay. I'm almost certain. Well, maybe it wasn't Empire, but I know that there was at least one director sacked throughout the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But how many have they gone through for Han Solo now? I think they're up to. They had a pair.
Well, they were the pair.
They sacked them. They got someone else in. They sacked them.
And
I'm pretty sure this is the fourth director.
They might have. I don't remember them sacking a second person, but they might have had somebody else in mind that just never got fulfilled.
Yeah. So Lawrence Kasdan wrote it with his son. Wrote the script for Han Solo.
Yeah.
Which is cool because he wrote the original Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So hopefully we'll get a consistent tone for Han Solo. I kind of wish they weren't doing a Han Solo movie. I think there's
it's ridiculous.
So many tangential, story. The whole point for me, and I think for most people, Star Wars has been the cult phenomenon it was because it was one of the first times they had put on screen a story set in a universe that felt real because it was used and dirty and grimy.
Yeah,
it wasn't. The universe was built for the plot. It was the universe is the universe, and the plot just happens to be unfolding inside it.
Yeah.
So, there are so many cool storylines that have fuck all to do with the characters that we know from the trilogy.
Exactly. Yeah.
I just wish they'd start doing some of those.
Yeah. And I mean, you'd look at things like Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
I caught one of those the other day. It just happened to be on plain old TV on ABC or something like that. Something really weird. I was flicking through and it was on there. And I've seen bits and pieces of it previously, but I watched this one and it was about one of the crew members on the Ghost, which is the ship.
Yep.
And he had two other people, I'd say that with quotation marks because they were aliens, from his race, and his race was dying out. The Empire had destroyed their planet or something like that. So he was getting them to their Shangri-La, their mythical planet that was behind this nebula and everything like that. And then it went into, like, he was, the crew member happened to be the chosen one, and he had this staff, which was kind of like Chewbacca's bowcaster, but it came out into a big long spear that had a crystal on it, and that then he put that up to the ship computers, and it started to crackle out yellow lightning, and
cool.
it was driven through the Force, going through him, going through the staff, directing the ship, and then I think it's Ezra, and I don't remember the older Jedi in it, but they ended up and they put their hands on his back and were channeling the Force
through him, through the staff into the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking cool.
Through them, through him, through the staff into the ship. Exactly. And it went back to that more of that old expanded universe where the Force was this
permeating entity.
Exactly. And we haven't really gotten a feel for that. Even I've read a couple of the new books, and you don't get that feel. It is that very real used universe, but you don't have that magic space wizard mythology coming into it. But
I actually like that from Rogue One is they started to kind of explore the religion behind the Force.
And
I thought that was really cool.
Exactly. I rewatched Rogue One only last night because I felt really like watching it, and definitely through the Donnie Wong character.
Which is fucking brilliant.
Oh, he's probably one of the best characters in it. And I mean, it's been spoken about a lot that people would rather see them in a backstory movie than they would see a Han Solo movie.
I completely agree.
Exactly. You go and explore those characters a lot more because they obviously didn't have time in Rogue One to do it. And they're really interesting in that.
And that's kind of the Jedi are an application of the Force in kind of a I don't know how you describe it. It's not really combat related, but it's almost Knights of the Round Table. And in fact, if you go back and listen to some of the language, they do talk like they're Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah.
And you have Jedi Knights before you get to Master.
And the Council and all that.
So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like a Camelot story. And I almost think that's where George drew inspiration.
Probably was.
Maybe I've read that somewhere, but it fits quite well. But to have the churchy kind of religion around this mystical force, it never made sense not to have that. So to have that explored in Rogue One, I thought was cool. And unfortunately, it kind of just skipped over the surface of it. And for the purposes of telling the Rogue One story.
Oh, and Rogue One was never meant to be based on that. It was a boots-on-the-ground soldier movie.
Yes, yeah, very much. But to kind of have that on I'd love to go and see that explored. And not Jedis, but people that have supported the Jedis and treat it more of a religion rather than as... the Jedi Council. Yeah,
and there's so
the
many
crystals.
Yeah, there's so much of that in the Legends universe, the old expanded universe. So it would be. I think
I want to see someone build a fucking lightsaber.
Yeah, well, hopefully we do get that at some stage. But yeah, it'll be in some medium.
Yeah.
So we have here
a big shit.
This is the Omnipollo and Buxton original ice cream pale ale. This is from the UK. I don't
finished with the bottle?
Yeah, I'm finished with the bottle. I don't like the design on this bottle. It does look like the poo emoji with legs.
You probably can't see that from there, but I'll try and zoom in.
It does. I saw this on the shelf at the bottle shop yesterday too, and I've looked at it and I've gone, you know what? I didn't even read what it was. I just go, I'm not buying that pure and simply for the logo that's on the front.
I get a lot more hop notes out of the aroma than I expected.
Oh, really? I haven't even smelt it yet. But it's a pale ale that has lactose in it to make it creamy and sweet. Unless this is absolutely outstanding, I'm really torn and don't particularly even want to try this one.
You need to try it.
Okay.
It's so I'm getting a lot of hop notes out of the flavor.
There is a lot of that resiny, piney hop.
It's surprisingly bitter for a sweet. Well, I mean, it is a pale, but it's surprisingly bitter, and you do get a strong ice cream flavor through it.
You do. You do get that real creamy character. You're right. It's incredibly bitter.
Yeah. For
me, that actually really saves it. I don't like that background cream character you're getting from some vanilla or that lactose as well.
Barley, oats, wheat. So it's a mixed base. Lactose. Yeah, I can't read. That's in another language.
Yeah, it goes into break it down. It's very sweet. Got sugar on my lips.
I actually think they've tried to balance the sweetness with that's why there's
bitterness.
So much resin in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't list IBU though, which it'd have to be up there.
It's higher than that Pilsner.
Excuse me. Yeah, definitely.
That Pilsner would have been sort of 30, I reckon.
I reckon it's closer to 60.
Nah, it's it could be well up there. Yeah, it could be up in that sort of that 40 to 60 range.
It's okay to tell me I'm wrong, Dan. And my wife knows that. She tells me every day.
I wouldn't think it was that high. It's quite high. 60s IPA territory.
Right.
So, but no,
I don't find it unpleasant though. It's just I wouldn't ever buy it again.
No, I don't like that. If they took out that lactose and that whatever that vanilla-y creamy character is, it'd actually be a pretty good pale ale.
I was going to say then it wouldn't be an ice cream pale ale.
No, it wouldn't. No, the base beer comes across nice.
Good base.
Yeah, it comes across nice. It's got that nice like we mentioned that hop character to it, but that creamy. But I mean, it is what it is. It's different. They may have done it for a reason, like we do our Gabs beers, which are our weird and wonderful beers. I don't know how well it would go in this country, being warmer and everything like that. I don't know.
It's not a beer you want to let warm up.
Yeah, I don't think
it's going to unlock too much hop.
Exactly. Well, and that creaminess is going to come through as well. So anyway,
a lot of head in it.
Yeah.
which would be the lactose, I assume.
Yeah, well, it'll be thickening up everything and that, so making the body a lot thicker. Yeah, it is a very creamy foam, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Thor Ragnarok, I don't have much to say other than it's due out end of the month, which I'm fucking... I'm hungry for it.
Yeah, they've started to drop some more of those the short little, like the Instagram videos.
Yeah.
Just on there. And
I'm not actually looking forward to Infinity War the way I thought I would. It's kind of too much of the same now.
Yeah.
But Thor and the characters, excuse me, there's a lot of carbon dioxide in that last beer. Oh, we've got rocket fuel happening here too.
No, that's just so I don't have to finish it.
Okay. Yeah, so look,
I wouldn't contaminate 8-bit that way.
Oh, it's 8-bit, is it?
It was.
Right.
I took the last mouthful of it.
I'm looking forward to the trailers make Thor look like they've returned back to the character roots, which is they're fucking funny. It's dry, sarcastic humor. It's
big
right up our alley.
Big dumb blonde man.
Yeah, and you've got fucking Hulk in it, who has a very similar personality, or at least a very similar sense of humor. And the interplay between those two characters have always made the Avengers funny. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
That conflict between those two characters have been going on since the first Avenger, and it's just they found that it worked there, so they kept it going. I mean,
we don't have the backdrop of Tony Stark and all the shit that goes with that. Although the Japanese trailer, and I'm sure they've done an English language one since. But
I've seen the Japanese one actually.
The Japanese trailer has Doctor Strange in it. I'm actually looking forward to because again, his sense of humor plays perfectly into those two as kind of a counterpoint almost.
I don't think he'll be in it much.
No.
I think he's just in it at the start because Thor's still got his long hair.
Yep. I almost hope that he's not in it for much.
I don't think he'll be in it at all, really.
Just kind of interject a couple of quips, I think that would work quite well.
Yeah, I don't know. They're together for some reason to collect something. So, I think it looks great. I mean, The one of the little clips that they like, it's only like 5 seconds, and it's the slow walk of the girl that's playing Valkyrie.
Yep.
Walking away from a ship, and there's all these technicolored fireworks going off behind her. She's walking away like a badass, and I think it looks great. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing her character because she looks like a really interesting character that we haven't seen that archetype before.
Yeah.
With like the little snippets we've seen where she's gone up against Hela and Hela's defeated all the Valkyries. So how she plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And it'd be nice to inject, you're right, a new personality archetype into these series because they are all starting to get a little bit formulaic and stale.
Yeah.
We need a dry, sarcastic sense of humor, but who can kick ass, and we need a dumbass that we can make fun of, and it's very slapstick. And then you need the serious undertones, and then we're going to have some conflict amongst the heroes, and it's all very formulaic.
Exactly. I mean, there's going to be a lot of conflict between them because you've got the banter that goes on between Hulk and Thor.
Yep.
You've got Thor and Loki because last time Thor left Loki, he was dead on the on the Dark World. And then you've got a fallen Valkyrie. And however Thor and Loki are going to interact with her.
Yeah,
so,
you're right. That's going to be interesting.
And what happened there? So the whole the four of them in that main group, there's going to be it's going to be the same formula with conflict and then get along to fight.
But even between the Avengers in the last movie in Civil War, obviously there had to be conflict amongst the heroes. But the interplay between Captain America and Iron Man was very similar to me in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where some of the characters are... I mean, I know there was a lot more humor in it, but Ratchet and fucking... And Starkiller, wow.
Star-Lord.
That's a major crossover back in
crossover,
Force Unleashed. I just found it all very bit, a lot same. I'm looking for new stories.
Yeah.
And
Taika Waititi, though, is he's going to kill it. He's going to absolutely change the face of what they're doing, and I really hope they give him more and something different.
Yeah, I agree. I do hope they do that too.
And I hope that if this goes well, they give him a Star Wars movie. I'd love to see a Taika Waititi spin-off, like a Star Wars story.
That'd be cool.
I think that'd be absolutely amazing, actually. I think that he'd do. And because it's Disney, I mean, if this makes a huge amount of money and they like what he's done, who freaking knows?
Cha-ching.
I mean, exactly. Yeah. Chuck him in there. Chuck him in your other franchise and just go for it. I think it'd be
Just give him
awesome.
open slather. I think
Yeah.
that's the only way to do it these days. We've actually there's so many good directors now that you can just, I just think Hollywood needs to, or is starting to learn that if they take a little bit more risk and just let the director run with it, they end up with a better product at the end of it than trying to over-control it the way they have some of these movies. And you've led to Star Wars having like a revolving door of directors, for example. And I don't care how misaligned the original directors were to the storyline or the vision from the executives. The reality is it's going to end up showing in the movie.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm fucking dirty about that because, I'm already seeing holes in a Star Wars movie I haven't even seen yet.
Yeah, and we haven't even seen a trailer for, let alone...
There's no way you can have 4 different people try and tell one storyline and have it be seamless.
You look at what happened with Suicide Squad.
Well, yeah.
Suicide Squad is the best example that we can do in the last 3 or 4 years because it was just a fucking mess.
It's like the writer had ADD, and I'm sure it's not actually the writing, it's the directing.
Well, they had David Ayer, I think it was. Yep. So they had, we've spoken about Suicide Squad countless times.
No, not that much. We never went into a whole lot of depth other than to say it was fucking shit.
Yeah, okay. They even had someone recut the original trailer.
Yes.
And then the people
and
who
set it to different music because it was to appeal to a dumber audience, frankly.
And the people that cut the trailer ended up cutting the final movie that he then came in and had some more say on how that recut was then recut to release it. I mean, it's just
get your shit together.
insane.
Hollywood's been doing movies for like 100 fucking years. You'd think they'd have worked their shit out by now.
Like, and I'm a DC man, and I've mentioned it many times before, so I'm going to go into their
Great
other medium,
comic.
their original medium. That absolutely bored the shit out of me.
Really?
This is the new one. So this is the run that's just finished. So I just threw Pete over the Superman Rebirth Declaration. This went for 4 or 5 parts, and it was all about Clark, Lois, and John, their son, doing a road trip across America, basically to
jerking off dead soldiers by the look of it.
Yeah, I mean
that came out a little bit more aggressively than I had hoped, but it's a patriotism play.
It was a patriotism thing through and through, and my God, it was fucking boring. There were some really good bits in it. They talked about and I'm sure some of them are 100% true facts about the soldiers that weren't acknowledged within some of the wars and some of the black regiments and things like that. So it was
which we've actually talked about on the show.
We have, yeah, definitely. But they could have done that in an extended 40-page edition or something like that.
Yeah, instead of making a 6 comic book series or a 5 comic book series out of it.
If you're going to do something that focused on a certain... And it's not a super... This almost lost me. I almost stopped my subscription to Superman because it bored me and I didn't know how long it was going to go for. And I'm glad I didn't because... Then we went into... See, this next one, this was a 2-parter, and this was...
I can see Sinestro on the cover.
Yes, this was
nice.
This was Superman going up against Sinestro.
And Hal Jordan as a Yellow Lantern by the look of it.
No, that's Clark.
It's
okay.
Superman. So it's kind of a very similar to...
Yeah, you're going to say Brightest Day, Blackest Night?
Yeah.
So
which was fucking epic too.
Spoilers for anybody who wants to read this. It's Superman 29 and 30. Parallax. Actually, Clark lets Parallax in to possess his body. And Parallax, for anybody who doesn't know, Parallax is the entity that is the Yellow Lantern embodiment. So he's the embodiment of fear in the universe. And it's...
And nothing at all like the fucking travesty that was the movie Parallax.
No, the Parallax in the comic books is absolutely...
The big fart gas cloud that attacked everyone.
Parallax in this is a massive alien... crazy, scary lizard thing. And he's actually, Parallax, the entity, was kidnapping children on Earth and feeding on their fear. And Clark was going out looking...
Kind of like the Monsters, Inc. storyline.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it is actually. Very much so. So Parallax was doing that, and Clark was looking for the kids and finally found them and went up against Parallax.
Yep.
And the only way he could defeat him was make a deal with him to say, you can take over my body if you let all these children go. So
that's a pretty heavy storyline.
Well, it was. And to come straight off the 4 or 5 part of that one that bored the shit out of me.
Yeah, so it was a good recovery, basically.
It was absolutely perfect. It only went for 2 issues. And as soon as Superman lets Parallax in, Sinestro turns up. because Sinestro, I actually really like that. Sinestro turns up, and because he wants to control Parallax again, he wants to imprison Parallax and feed off the power for his lanterns.
Yeah, which is very Sinestro.
Yeah, so Sinestro is actually in control of, I want to say Quark, but it's not Quark. The planet where I'll
Quad.
Quad? Yeah,
Quad.
where the weaponers who actually forged the original rings.
Yes.
So he's controlling that. So they end up there in this one. It's only 2 parts. It's really good.
I might borrow them off you.
The exposition in it is great because they've got to talk about and explain everything between the two of them. So you've got a man who controls his fear and a man who feeds on fear to control the power. So the exposition between those two characters and how they view the same emotion. Clark accepting it and controlling it, Sinestro accepting it and controlling it in a different sense.
For different outcomes, obviously.
Exactly, for different outcomes. I thought those two were probably some of the best Superman comics, standalone Superman comics I've ever read. Just great, really to the point, made it fast and made the action great, and then made the exposition fantastic as well. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, cool.
And a really good backup to that dead-ass boring. And no offense to any of our American listeners, I really enjoyed the backstory going from all through the Civil Wars to Vietnam War to World War I, World War II, even Korean War they talk about there, because obviously that was a big fuck-up on America's part as well.
I've seen a lot of interesting exploration of American patriotism in movies and comics and just the media that we're into, right? So, and interesting stories that I think have validity, but there's also a bunch out there in a lot of different mediums that are just, they're not exploring patriotism as a concept. It's just a homage to patriotism blindly. And that's the sort of shit that I don't like.
And that's almost what that was.
It's just, let's paint an American flag on everything just because we can.
100%. And let's use Superman to the good old American boy to push that along. So, I mean, it was the information, it was good, but I gave up. I didn't even read the last issue.
Yeah, wow, okay.
I skipped right ahead, and like I said, I almost cut it off.
And you're really glad that you didn't.
I'm really glad that I didn't. We have here Buxton Brewery Trolltunga Gooseberry Sour IPA.
I like it.
Really dry. That gooseberry, I've never really eaten a gooseberry, but
I don't think I have either. I'm sure I've had it in desserts.
Yeah, from what I get from this beer, it's a very light to almost watery kind of berry.
I'm not sure.
I'd say the flesh is very light.
Almost like a lychee or something.
Yeah, something like that. I would say somewhere between like a lychee and a blueberry.
Yeah.
It's still got
We'll have to go and research this.
We will, yes. The label's really nice. It's just got a troll that's obviously been under the ground and a hiker
which is what attracted me to this beer.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice label. Peter will throw up a picture of that, but really nice label. Nice, dry, slightly sour. 6.3%.
Sour's at the end of the palate, I noticed.
Yeah.
And I can't tell if I'm getting a hops aroma because of the shit in my glass from the last two, which have been very hoppy, or if it's this beer. But it is an IPA, though.
Yeah. I was just about to say mine still smells a little bit vanilla-y because I didn't rinse my glass out well enough. Probably should have left that one till the ice cream ale till the end, but I wanted the sourness of this to sort of cut. Yeah,
and it does.
Cut that.
It's got quite a good hit of sourness too. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, no, it's really, really nice.
We are going to We're going to have to fix the pace here though, because we're only at 40 minutes, so we've got half an hour and we've got one beer left.
Oh, okay.
We might have to do a short episode.
I'm getting really bad at that. I'm just pushing through them.
I need a little light or something.
Yeah. Get your big red clock back. Do you want any more of that?
No, I've got to drive.
Right,
it's double demerits weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna. Have you seen Star Trek?
No, that was actually on my list here.
I can't talk about it.
No,
man.
Well, I mean, it's out. It's out on Netflix. First 2 episodes are up.
Yeah. It's fucking good.
It is good.
It is really good.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. It's good
reimagining of the Klingons, which took a little bit of time for me to accept that they look different. They're not the way that every other incarnation.
There is a theory about this.
That they're the warrior caste and they look different to...
There's different spread of Klingons, and that's why they look different in different...
No, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work?
It'll make sense later, but no, that can't be the reason.
Okay.
Excuse me. It's possible that we've only ever... No, it's not. I was going to say it's possible we've only ever seen a different cast, and that the Warrior cast look physically different.
Yeah.
To, the pilot cast. I don't know, but no, I'm just thinking about that they're all fucking warriors, so they can't really.
They're all warriors, yeah.
Unless they've got a breeder cast. But then other Star Treks have already had female, Klingons on the show, and they look just like the male Klingons.
No,
there was a half breed in DS9 from memory. She was kind of hot, but
yeah, she was. Was it DS9? No, it was Voyager.
Yeah, it was Voyager.
Yeah,
she was strangely hot.
Yeah.
Anyway,
was she?
She was a half.
She was a half human. See, this is why I'm not allowed bottle caps, man.
Because you play with them.
Clicky pens and bottle caps on a recording medium.
Yeah, not a good mix. But yeah, no, really well done, and a great introduction to a series that's set a decade before Discovery.
This is Discovery.
Sorry, not Discovery. Is it Enterprise? I can't remember if it's 10 years before Enterprise or 10 years before the original series takes place in the timeline.
Well, Enterprise, do they have transporters?
Yes.
Okay, well, it's after Enterprise then.
Okay. Right, because Enterprise brought in transporters. Okay.
So it's
the only Star Trek series I've never watched, and I've never been interested to watch.
Everybody put shit on it, and I actually quite liked it.
I just didn't. It didn't grab my attention.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people went to because it they don't have all the
sexy future tech.
Exactly.
That's what didn't turn me on about it.
They don't have shields.
Yeah.
They have polarizing the hull plates.
Yep.
They get their shields in like season 2 or 3 or something like that.
Okay.
They only have phasers, or they only have torpedoes or projectile weapons of some sort. Right. I don't think they have phasers. The teleporters aren't really working. They work to an extent, but they don't like to use them on humans and this and that. So there are.
I always like the Galaxy Quest, and they fucking bring that monster on board, and it's inside out and shit.
Yeah. So that sort of stuff. But I think a lot of people hated it for that reason because it wasn't technically Star Trek because they didn't have all that stuff and
that made it Star Trek. I just found it didn't grab me. Didn't grab my attention.
And I like Quantum Leap, man. Even though he overacts, but he did a very good.
It's almost fucking Stargate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was very much in the vein of Stargate because it all came out at the same time.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But
he didn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
But then if you go back and watch the original series, Shatner overacted the fuck out of his role.
But that was a very different time as well.
Yeah.
We're talking about Batman 66 era.
Yeah.
So the campiness of everything and evil.
How you can be camp and fuck every female alien that you meet. He managed to. That's masterful acting, I think.
Evil Mirror World Spock.
Yeah,
I love Evil Mirror World Spock, and I like even better that they did it with Evil Mirror World Teal'c in Stargate.
Yeah, he was fucking cool with the soul patch,
little soul patch, the same as Spock had the goatee.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, the new Star Trek, well worth watching. And it really grabs you by the balls and demands your attention straight away, which I like. I don't know if it's in the alternate universe that the new movie series has created or if it's in the original universe. I don't know what timeline it's in.
Yeah.
Or what continuum it's in, I suppose is a better way to put that. But it is at least consistent in its concepts for some of the Vulcan stuff that it talks about with the movies.
Yeah.
So you get to see... excuse me, the guy from Heroes, I can't remember his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Sylar from Heroes.
No, yeah, I know who he is.
Anyway, so he's a young boy in the training center on Vulcan, and that's consistent with the new TV series on Netflix. And as much as I hate it...
You're going to need to keep talking because I can't do two things at once.
That's fine. As much as I hate it, I'm glad that they didn't release the whole season of Star Trek in one hit. We're all moving towards binge watching, and certainly
Zachary Quinto.
That's him. So he was in Heroes. He was in something else recently, and he was in Star Trek, obviously as Spock. Yep. I do like that Netflix haven't released the whole season in one hit. I actually read an article recently about binge watching, and whilst it might have the instant payoff that Y-Geners and Next Gen want and love, and we're on the cusp of Y-Gen. Your retention of information is shithouse in comparison to watching it weekly.
And they probably get for something like that. And I know I've done it with Rick and Morty and the week by week release with
but
that.
But they're kind of throwaway Rick and Morty. You can binge watch that, and it's like The Simpsons.
You definitely can. But I find myself going back and watching. Like, if it's been a good episode, like I've watched the Pickle Rick episode probably
I love that episode.
Probably 3 times. And like I do that because I might have half an hour of a night where I don't want to go to bed.
Yep.
So I've gone, oh, fuck it, that was a good episode. I'll chuck last week's episode on while I know the next one's coming out in 3 days' time.
Yep.
So they're probably drawing people back into using the Netflix application as well and keeping it on for longer as well. People
but you're
can't
paying for it every month. There's no advertising. They're getting their money either way.
Yeah, but you can't binge watch it and then ditch it.
Yeah,
and then when something else comes on, binge watch and ditch it again.
I think Netflix makes its money because it's got such a great variety and it's constantly churning shows. So
and
I don't know.
It's much better than Stan. We've got Stan at the moment.
I've never bothered with Stan.
We've got it because we're watching Hannibal. So
yeah. I fucking love that series. I'm almost at the end of season 2. The wife and I watch it religiously now.
Okay. We're about halfway through season 2, so no spoilers.
No. I'm probably just ahead of you, not far.
Okay.
That and Expanse. So Zach, our tattooed artist, out at Wicked Ink. Hello, Zach. Recommended I watch The Expanse because he's into the same shit that we are.
I was pushing you to watch The Expanse fucking ages ago.
You know what? The last time,
Zach, you hold more weight than I do.
I'm working on my sleeve, so he's actually just about finished. But the last part of my sleeve that I got, which was almost a year ago, he told me I had to watch The Expanse, and we watched. The wife and I watched the pilot episode and never revisited it. And I don't know why. It must have been that there was something else on at the time that we really wanted to watch and just kind of left it on the side. And because it's on Netflix, it doesn't come up. I've got a little list on my smart TV of all the shit that I haven't seen, and it doesn't come up in that list. So it's obviously out of sight, out of mind.
So to put things in context, anybody who doesn't know what The Expanse is, it's a hard sci-fi TV series based on hard sci-fi novels.
Yes.
The first novel is called Leviathan Wakes, and I read that a long time ago, not realizing it was going to be turned into a TV series, and loved the book. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and I don't want to go and watch the TV series now because I want to keep reading the books.
Oh, dude. Because so you haven't seen the TV series?
I've seen 4 episodes.
I
really like it. I think
brilliant,
it's a great explanation of the book.
Yep.
I think it's really, really good. The way they so what it is humans have expanded through the galaxy, through the Expanse. You have the Earth colony, you have the Mars colony, and you have the Belters. So the Belters live in the asteroid belt out between the inner and outer planets.
I want to say Kuiper belt, I think.
Yeah. So they live on PlayStations. PlayStations. Fucking hell.
I live on a PlayStation, Dan.
They live on space stations that are in low gravity, so Belters are taller and skinnier than the
and
Earth.
Their bones are brittle.
Their bones are brittle when they're in heavy gravity, but they're used to the low gravity and the movement and everything like that. So when they get an Earther on a space station or a ship or something like that, they have problems with the low gravity and
actually in one of the earlier episodes, they torture a belter on Earth just by hanging him up and forcing him to stand in Earth gravity.
Yeah, letting
and
the gravity
think they
pull.
put hooks under his armpits
to hold him up.
Just to hold him up, and it was crushing him and he was dying.
Yeah.
So, that's how fucking weak these dudes are on normal gravity.
And then they do that in the TV series by finding these actors, these very tall, skinny actors to play these belters. And I'm
really enjoying that beer. Sorry to interrupt.
It is really good. That's not Trolltunga from Buxton.
It's not a pure sour. It's not what you get if you just got a sour ale.
Super dry.
Yeah, I like the balance between the IPA notes and the sour notes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Carry on.
I don't even know where it was.
Sorry, dude.
The actors that they've chosen. So they've chosen really good actors for the main people, all the way down. So none of that Earth politics is actually in the book.
Oh, right.
I
thought it was great.
Yeah, see, none of that's in. They've added that in to flesh out the TV series to not just focus on Holden and Miller.
Yeah, okay. So essentially you've got 3 storylines happening concurrently. You have the politics of the United Nations, which is the Earth Gov, trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with the events of the story, and I won't spoil it. I mean, look, in the first episode, so the basic concept is the Belters are living in the asteroid belt on a base called Ceres, and they mine ice out of the belt, out of asteroids in the belt, bring it back to Ceres.
Water ice.
Yes. Yeah,
not methamphetamine ice.
They're not mining fucking manufactured drugs. So they mine ice, bring it back to Ceres, the base station in the belt, and then Martians and Earthlings, they transport it back to Mars and Earth, because Mars and Earth both need water and oxygen, which you generate out of water. Hydroelectrolysis? I think
sounds right. Yeah.
It smells scientific-y enough.
Yep.
And so, and the Belters are essentially second-class citizens, and I find the whole series is a comment on, I don't know, secularism or racism, or it's almost it's almost Arabia with their oil. They get, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a commodity there. There's a commodity in play. They don't talk about race in the way we think of race.
No.
There's no Australians, New Zealanders, Americans, Africans.
They're just Belters, Martians, and Earthlings.
That's exactly. We're all humans in the eyes of this book, which is actually fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's just
but your origin is what
your origin is where all that secularism comes into it.
And the physicality of being human is starting to diverge, and it's actually supporting it's not racism, I guess. There's just bigotry in general, I think, is a generic term for it. I love the fact that you've got the United Nations political stuff going on, and it's very much The 13th Hour. I don't know if you've seen that movie, based on the Cuban Missile Crisis.
No. I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah, so it's a really stressful, I don't know what's going to happen next, and as a political body or a government, we need to avoid war at all costs. But in order to do that, we need to know what our enemies are doing. We need to stay a step ahead without tipping them off. We don't want to force them to respond in, basically the complete opposite of what Trump and King Jong-il are doing right now. They're posturing in public media instead of, very Russian Cold War.
Well, that's kind of what it comes down to, because what the main story is there's a coming war between Earth and Mars, and the Belters are kind of the neutral but not neutral territory.
Yeah, and you've got a terrorist. I mean, the Belters have kind of formed a group that everyone else treats as if it's a terrorist group.
Organization, yeah.
But in reality, it's kind of just, I don't know, it's them pushing back. So going back to what I was trying to say before, it's basically the Belters are second-class citizens. They only
100%.
exist.
Yeah. I think the Martians are even seen as second-class citizens in the Earther eyes.
Yeah, but vice versa is true. They're both superpowers. It's very America, Russia.
Yeah.
And you've kind of got some guys in the middle who are mining this resource, and no one gives a fuck about them but for the fact that they're mining the resource. So they're treated like shit. Air and water is what's the word I'm looking for? Limited in Ceres. So, and they keep putting restrictions on water and air. And I think at one stage, one of the guys actually takes a shower and he's covered in soap, and he runs out of water in the middle of his shower.
Okay.
And so he's got nothing to wipe the soap off with. So just little things like that. Again, it's a lived-in universe. It's dirty. It's grimy.
Oh, yeah,
There's
definitely.
a lot going on that's not related specifically to the storyline. So your primary storylines are the United Nations kind of Cold War posturing and trying to espionage and spies and that sort of shit. In parallel, you've got a very film noir detective story going on in
with
series.
Miller.
Yep. Miller is brilliant as an actor. He nails that fucking role.
What's his name? Tom Jane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. And then
Original Punisher. Well, not original Punisher. Second Punisher.
Second Punisher, yeah. And then you've got a hard science fiction, spaceships blowing up. I don't know how you kind of describe that, but a typical science fiction story.
That's the action movie part of it.
Yeah, and you've got these three, and they're interspersed, and the timing and beats are really well constructed.
Yeah.
It's fucking brilliant.
You talk about a lived-in universe. It's something that I don't know if it comes across in the TV series, but definitely comes across in the... they talk about it almost continuously in the novel, but it's only these very little throwaway lines that you don't think about it, but something that comes through about a lived-in world is they talk about the flavors that certain rooms have on their air purifiers.
No,
So
it's not mentioned at all in the series.
I didn't. It would be a very hard thing to get in unless somebody like vocalized it and spoke about it. So Miller walks into his captain's office and she's got a coffee scent air purifier coming through, and there's a lot of talk
there is
about
a lot of coffee in series. I don't know why, but it's a recurring theme for some reason.
It's probably that cop noir. all those cops have got to always be drinking coffee and donuts.
Actually, it's not, because on the ship, the main character from the ship, I can't remember his name either. I'm fucking shit. Holden, thank you. I'm shit ass with names. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's something that comes through more from having read and followed those characters through on paper rather than watching and listening somebody use their name in a TV series.
Yeah. Because the writer has to mention Holden's name every time he refers to him in the third person, in addition to the in addition to the dialogue. There's a big story. Well, and there's not a big story, but there's lots of mentions of coffee with Holden as well. So I don't know what's going on there. It's very fucking random.
Yeah, I think even in the books, I think they talk about it. Anyway, there's probably not interesting people listening to us talk about the characters in TV shows and books.
Expanse, watch it. And one thing I do like about it, and I've read a lot of space opera, so Peter F. Hamilton, my favorite writer of all time, is a scientist as well as an author. So when he talks about astrophysics, he's got a fucking degree in astrophysics. So when he writes hard sci-fi, it's hard sci-fi. Expanse is very similar. The whole turn and burn thing, the whole concept of that laymen don't really understand, that people that aren't interested in science fiction or science don't get, that when you accelerate in space, when you stop accelerating, you hit a velocity and you will not stop. Ever.
Yeah, until you hit something.
Until you hit something. So the idea of turn and burn, where they flip the ship while traveling.
Yeah, and all the G-forces and everything that they're going through.
Yeah, and in fact, I won't tell you who, but a belter kills himself by avoiding so in order to avoid the crushing G-forces of accelerating in space, there's these weird neck headphones. They look like headphones, but they come out on your neck and they pierce your skin and inject your body with some sort of fluid to stop you from being crushed.
So in the book, they're a full chair. They have to strap themselves into a chair and it injects down their spine.
Right. I guess that would be
that way.
But in the TV series, it's just represented by they do sit in a special chair and they do strap in.
Yeah.
But you just see the headphones kind of come out from the seat and from behind them and inject them in the neck.
And they're injecting adrenaline and something else.
They don't go into it in the TV, just that it helps them survive. And you only know that because one of the belters kind of avoids it by squirming out of his seat. He's a prisoner, and you actually see his biceps strip from his arm bone.
Lovely.
In gravity. It looked fucking awesome. And having watched, we're kind of balancing between Expanse and Hannibal. It's not bloodthirsty at all compared to fucking Hannibal.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cool.
I think we've done TV to death.
I think we've covered a lot of shit in this one. We have Mandarin Man Tropical IPA from Amager Brewery in Denmark. Sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And Wicked Weed Brewing in America. It's a tropical IPA collaboration. Nice label. I think it's a pretty good IPA. It's traveled a bit, I'd say. But there's no oxidization or anything there.
No.
But there's no outstanding characters either. I think that Mandarin comes through a little bit. Excuse me. Edit.
So it's all good.
That comes through a little bit.
It's not my cup of tea.
I'd be happy with it. I mean, I'd never return this. It's got a very citrus juice back body to it that
it does.
Sort of sits in your throat a little bit. But I mean, it's a good IPA, especially for one that's traveled. I don't know whether it was brewed in the US or Denmark, but
not a lot of aroma.
No, it doesn't have much aroma at all. All that sort of citrusy, acidic juice is kind of coming through on the palate itself. It's got quite a high bitterness to it, but
best for July 2018. So I'd say it's probably 3-4 months old. I'd say they've got a 12-month shelf life on the label. So it has aged a little bit. I mean, 3 months isn't long, but then you don't know what refrigerations happened to get it here.
It's got quite a herbaceous hop character to it.
Herbaceous.
Take a big mouthful of it, and you get it sort of not straight away on the mid palate. It's really herbal.
Yeah.
Really herbal.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. It's not quite that piney, resiny side of thing. It's more that herbaceous, vegetal almost character to it.
You get quite a lot of bitterness on the front of the palate.
There is a lot of bitterness.
It dissipates really quickly too. It's got a pretty full body in terms of mouthfeel.
Yeah.
Look, it's different, but it's not different enough to stand out for me.
Yeah. I think
I'm
it's
not getting a lot of mandarin out of it, though.
There is a bit there.
I get citrus notes, but not specifically mandarin.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So they might have flavored it with the hops choice rather than a flavorant.
Definitely, and there is a hop that actually gives there's such an enormous description on there, and that's what I was saying to you before. There's no way I'm reading that,
and I'm sure it's in more than one language.
No, it's not. It's all it's all English all the way through. It's all
That's
English.
weird because it's in Danish where it tells you the percentage, where it says 7%.
There's so much exposition on there. I'm just there's no way I'm reading it. It's like their entire brewery story. I mean, guys, come on, like shorten it up. It's too much.
They're related to Chris. I can't get that guy's beer descriptions in the fucking website boxes
them
anymore.
Down a bit. They're really good descriptions, though.
Yes, they are, and Chris's are too. I don't know which you were referring to then.
No, not that. I haven't read that, and I'm not going to.
Chris's descriptions for the Bounty Hunter Brewing beers are fantastic and really well thought out. There's a lot of puns in them.
Yeah.
And I enjoy reading them.
And there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of the puns, but there's also shit that if you don't know the relationship of the beer
to the pop culture,
to the original story, you're just not going to get. They're just going to be words on a page.
Yeah, so. Which I love. I love the kind of subtext for anyone trying a beer. That's a layer, and if you try a Bounty Hunter Brewing beer, I think you'll be impressed. But if you are into your subculture, it should speak to your soul. Yeah, that's the whole
and that's
point,
the whole
right?
idea of it. Yeah.
I just hate having to jam it into the fucking website because you've got a text box that big and then a paragraph that big.
I originally, I think for the first ones, I chopped them down a little bit when I put them on Untapped, just so Untapped is the beer rating app. I cut it down a little bit for the first two, and then the rest of them I'm like, fuck it, just put it on. People are going to read it, they're going to read it. But it's nowhere near as long as that.
No.
They're like 5 or 6 lines long. That's
3 paragraphs.
30 lines long. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
If you, I can't remember the word for it.
I do like the artwork, though.
I can't remember the word for it. Is it retro olfactory? It's where you push air back through your palate.
Okay.
It's exactly what you were describing with the jelly beans.
Yeah,
so you get an olfactory report from breathing in and smelling scent, but you get a different type of response, and neurologically it's different when you breathe air back through your mouth.
Yeah.
And it's still an olfactory response, not a taste response. Anyway, I get mandarin on that.
Yeah. So that's what I was saying. It sits in the back of your throat.
Yeah. Interesting. I like a beer that's complex. I mean, it doesn't expose itself to you entirely the first time you sip it. It's something that you need to actually experience.
Yeah.
I enjoy that kind of level of the beer. And it's not my favorite beer, but it is. The guys from Q Cellars, thank you very much again for your recommendations, because they actually vetted all of these beers, and I had a different beer. I can't remember what it was, and I probably wouldn't name it if I could, but I was told to put it back and get this because, there's a lot of tropical IPAs that aren't that tropical was the comment, and this one very much is.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's really got a real high bitterness on this one.
Yeah, and I think I'd almost say there's pith in it because I can.
Yeah, it has that sort of character to it.
Is this the beer with sediment? Did you turn this? Because there's a lot of sediment in the bottom of this.
I noticed the first time your glass was a lot hazier than mine because I poured mine first, but I must have just as I poured it, it obviously shook up a little bit. But
I'd say there's pith in that just to give it a.
Oh yeah, that's
certainly
really
a lot
milky,
of sediment.
That bottom part.
Do we have any video games to talk about since we've already covered comic books, TVs, and movies? TVs.
I'm glad Chris isn't here because I'm back in on Witcher 3. So
again, you just finished Batman again,
or
one of the Batmans.
Yeah. I'm back in on Witcher 3.
I
started playing Zelda. What is the Breath of the Wild?
Yep. Which we've talked about a few times.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it for my nephew, and he loves it. Sorry?
And took it back off him.
No, I bought a copy. But I started playing it, and everybody talks about how great it is and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, it is a very, very good game. Very good game. but because there's no voice acting, there's only voice acting in cutscenes.
Right.
Everything seems so long and drawn out. And I mean, the world, the traversing the world is really good. You can climb any surface. Your stamina is what determines how far you can get on those surfaces.
Yeah,
so
okay.
you can climb a massive cliff as long as you can find ledges to let your stamina
Rebuild, yep.
all the way up. So those things are really good. The movement's really good. You've got a glider that you can get down from high places really quick and everything like that. And there's lots of little bits and pieces in different areas of the world, but I still find the world so unlived in and
Unpopulated
and not alive, but I mean, so many people disagree with me. So many people are saying how alive the world feels and how full it is. But I mean, I come off playing Witcher for so many hours.
Oh, that and something like Skyrim, where the world continues in the background.
Definitely.
It doesn't fucking care if you're there.
Yeah, the world keeps going, and you can just walk into any part in any area in Skyrim and hit something that's quite interesting. And
they're coming out with a new one, I think probably late next year, but I've heard grumbles about the next Elder Scrolls game. So
they've been going on about it for a little bit, so
we'll
see what's happening. So
it'll probably be VR enabled, the whole game, because they've already started doing VR stuff for Fallout 4
and Skyrim.
And is there a Skyrim mod for it now as well?
No, there's an official.
Okay.
Yeah. Skyrim official. I think that came out before Fallout 4.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But one of them's on one and one of them's on the other. So one of them's on the PlayStation VR.
I think that's Fallout 4.
Okay, and one of them's. No, I think it might be the other way around. I think Skyrim might be, and then Fallout might be on the PC.
Right.
Anyway,
that sucks because I haven't played Fallout 4, and since I've got PSVR and it's sitting in a cupboard collecting dust,
you may as well play Fallout 4 on that.
Yeah, which I think would be awesome and sick making.
Oh, definitely. But the good thing about Fallout...
I don't suffer from motion sickness, so I do feel it, but I tend to have fairly high resistance to that sensation.
The good thing about it, though, is it's not a Twitch. It's not a Twitch-based shooter. You've got the VAT system where you can actually...
slow things down.
Slow everything down.
Yeah.
So in 4, it only slows it down. It doesn't freeze it like it did in 3.
Okay, cool.
Which gives that sort of urgency. You can't just pause it and
and walk away, make a cup of coffee, come back, and
it's still things still move.
Pick the head.
Exactly, yeah. So no, what were you thinking?
All I'm playing is Battlefield 1.
Oh, okay.
In the Name of the Tsar, which
so we've both gone back.
Yeah, well, I've never really stopped. I mean, the expansions come out.
I never really stopped from Witcher either. I only stopped because Chris had my copy.
I've got to say, and that's right, I need to borrow your copy too. You did talk about that at some point. I'm just going to fucking buy
I'll buy you a copy.
Set.
I'll buy you. I'll buy you a copy so I don't have to give you my copy.
I have to return Aliens too, which I never played. I should pop that in.
And Mad Max. I want to get back into Mad Max as well.
Yeah, I do have both of those games. I looked at the tin for Mad Max today and went, "Is that my copy of the movie? No, that's not right. That's
the game.
Mine's 4K. It's the video game. Yeah. You lent it to me like 6 episodes ago. No. So in the Name of the Tsar, I was thinking this morning how to describe to you guys why it feels dear. Oh, look, my box is broken. Unable to connect the box. Fucking random, man. It's a work laptop. I can't really complain when work apps pop up after time.
Yeah, exactly.
I was trying to think this morning why it's different, what makes it interesting, and how the expansion has added more than just more maps.
Mm.
And there is actually a reason. And, the whole game's always done this. So you might have an open map in Team Deathmatch. Some of them are small and urban. And if you're a sniper, because I pretty much always play a sniper in every first-person shooter. I don't know why. I've just always been drawn to that style.
Do you play the sniper games as well, like Sniper Elite and...
I've never played Sniper Elite.
Ghost Warrior?
Not Ghost Recon?
No. There's two. There's Sniper Elite and then there's another one.
I've played the original Sniper series. There was like 3 or 4 of those games, and thoroughly enjoyed those. Yeah. I haven't really played a Sniper specific game for a while.
Sniper 3 was the last one to come out, and then there's Sniper Elite, which I think is like more of the kind of Call of Duty side of it.
Yeah, okay. No, never really played those. I've always just picked the sniper class in every game I've played.
You'd rather shoot real humans that are unpredictable than
very unpredictable.
Let me rephrase that. Real humans in a
video game. Real digital humans.
Yeah, real digital humans. humans in a virtual environment.
Yes. Yeah, those.
No hiding in the back of trunks and shooting out of little
little holes drilled into the back of the car
while people fill up their gas tanks.
Yeah, fuck.
That's
Too soon?
That's a few years ago, isn't
Yeah, it is.
It's probably 10 years ago.
Yeah, it'd have to be a decade now.
Yeah. Anyway,
Remember seeing
sorry.
that. Anyway,
Sorry.
I like the fact that there are small maps that are urban, and you've got so from a sniper's perspective, you've got some iron sights only, bolt action rifles. Obviously, having to be accurate, you get an insta kill on a headshot. You at a certain distance. This is the first Battlefield game where if you have a rifle that's zeroed in for say 75 meters, if you hit them in the shoulders or the upper torso, it's an instant kill in that range of distance.
Okay.
So anything further on or closer, you'll do a lot of damage, but you won't get a one-shot one.
So it regulates its damage depending on the distance that you're going.
And all the guns have different distances.
Yeah.
So you need to pick your weapon for the map. You need to pick your weapon for the style. Sometimes it's fun to sit back in a big map and just snipe where you're aiming, off screen above their head and half an inch in front because they're running and you get the shot and you're cheering. In other games, I like to play very, very aggressive sniping. So you're up in their face, you're 20 meters away, that sort of thing. And you use different weapons. What I like about Battlefield 1 specifically, though, is whilst you might know all the foxholes in the map, you have atmospheric effects that are random. So you might play the same map 6 times. Anyone who plays BF1 will know Sinai Desert. It's a desert map. You're in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's a couple of water towers and some mountains in the distance that snipers love to camp in. And then you got a shit ton of buildings. And some of the buildings' roofs are accessible with mounted machine gun emplacements.
Okay. Yep.
There's lots of 2-story buildings, so you can kind of hide inside a building, open up the windows and shoot and snipe. But every second or third time you play the map, you'll have a sandstorm. And it makes it impossible to snipe because you can't see more than 5 meters in front of you.
Distance,
and that's when everyone switches to shotguns and literally just runs through the map, just nailing it left and right. I had to say the C-bomb at least once this episode because Chris isn't here. So I enjoy that. Now, in the name of the Tsar is added the Russian conflict. So the first expansion was the French. The second expansion has been Russia. And in Russia, there's a bunch of maps where the hills are on fire. It's kind of a mountainous grassland, but it's all on fire. So it's a smoke storm every time. Yeah. And it actually gets in your eyes and you see red. And
so there's actual character effects as well. Yeah, wow.
There's some snow maps where, again, sometimes there's a blizzard, sometimes there's not when you play on the map. But you leave footprints. So if you're hunting prey, if you're okay, human prey, the best kind, you can actually follow their footsteps in the snow.
Yeah,
some interesting, cool dynamic effects.
Modern gaming, man.
Yeah.
Extra details and all that sort of shit where you didn't have it. Remember me and Chris used to play, it must have been Call of Duty 2, one of the old World War II ones. And we would just set it at an unlimited time, 1 kill.
Yep.
And we were both snipers on the nighttime snow map.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
And it would literally just be the two of us. And we'd sit on like a long table like this, like a dining room table, end to end.
Yep.
And we would just stalk each other for like 2 hours.
That would be awesome.
Oh, it was great fun. And you would just have to sit and camp and just go, just one-on-one, no one else, and just wait.
I do like the fact that when you're playing this game, if you're smart, it's very much like the sniper movie. You take one shot, whether you miss or hit, you relocate.
Got to move.
You have to move. Actually, it's more like there's a World War II movie with oh god, that's going to bug me now. I can't remember.
Talking about Enemy at the Gates.
Yes.
Yeah, Ed Harris and Jude
Law. That's him. Very similar
Ron
to that.
Perlman.
Yes, and Ron Perlman. He plays a fucking interesting character in that.
And speaking of Ron Perlman, speaking of not Ron Perlman, that picture
Hellboy?
I sent you of that new Hellboy, fuck, he looks good.
He looks like Ron Perlman.
And that's what Louise said. And then I said, well, no, he doesn't look like Ron
looks
Perlman.
like
He looks like fucking Hellboy.
Yeah, and okay. But we all associate Hellboy with Ron Perlman.
We do,
because he does personify that character so fucking well in the two movies.
Oh, and he's great, and I love Rob Perlman. I think he's got a great sense of humor.
Actor.
He would be one of those guys.
Ron Perlman chewing a cigar just works.
Yeah,
it's just perfect.
Exactly. Whether he's in Hellboy makeup or not,
or anything else. Yeah,
he'd be really one of those guys where you just want to sit down and have a beer with him.
I'm actually surprised he hasn't played more grizzled veteran drill sergeants in movies, military movies.
Yeah.
I can see him replacing, I can't remember the actor's name, but the old dude from the start of Avatar with the fucking scar across his face.
that everybody wanted to play Cable.
Yes, yeah. And he comes up, that actor plays a lot of those types of roles. He's not in the movie for long, doesn't have many lines.
He's always that general with the hard flat top. And yeah.
I can see Ron Perlman in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Chewing a stogie, telling the kids how it is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All
right, I think we're at time, actually. So is there anything else you wanted to throw in before we go?
There was. We're at the end of award season for the breweries for this year. So we just had the Royal Sydney show, which was always the last one of the year. So I just want to say congratulations to all of my brewing brethren. So many of you did so brilliantly this year across all of the awards. It's such a great time to be part of the brewing industry, and everybody's starting to release the photos now of all their medals from the whole year. I mean, I saw Sydney Breweries, and Mike Capaldo is one of my good friends. They released a picture, and goddamn, there's so many medals on that page from this year, from all of the awards. So good on to them. Good on Matt Hogan, our friend and head brewer at Hope Estate. He won a trophy at this Royal Sydney.
Yeah, cool.
I'm sorry, I can't remember what it was. It was for one of these specialty barrel-aged beers. So that was great to see them pick that up. It's a really changing time in the industry at the moment. We've just had the sale of Four Pines to CUB. So that changes. There's a few other little bits and pieces happening within the industry. So, I mean, it's an interesting time for some of the larger breweries.
Yeah.
It's a great time for some of the smaller breweries, and we're just about to hit summer, which
it wasn't CUB, by the way. I don't think.
Yes, it is. SAB Miller InBev.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
AB InBev. AB InBev bought SAB Miller. SAB Miller bought CUB.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's like the pea in the cup game, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we're just about to hit summer, which awards season is over, and now we start focusing on beer festival season.
Yeah.
So
the drinking side of it.
Exactly. We're out of the stressful time and entering awards and then having beers to awards on time and then judging awards and then getting results. Yep. We're fucking out of that period. We're now just at beer festival season, so
we just get to enjoy a couple of bippies.
Exactly. So everybody keep an eye out. There's what have we got coming up? We've actually got a beer and barbecue festival at my brewery, the Australian Brewery, in November. I think I want to say early November, but I'm probably wrong. We've got what else have we got coming up? We've got the Australian Beer Festival in 2 weeks' time, which is the 13th to the 15th, which is the beer festival at the Rocks in Sydney. There's a whole bunch of other shit happening.
I want to say Banter will probably attend at least one of those.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely be at the Australian Brewery.
Yeah.
Because it's down the road and I can hassle the shit out of you. But yeah, I mean, we'll probably be amongst quite a lot of that. It's certainly either a Bounty Hunter Brewing representative or a Banner representative.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of both.
We'll be around.
Yeah.
And also for the brewing side of things, we're launching in Melbourne next week. Okay. Melbourne doesn't know this yet, but we're about to spam everybody's emails and absolutely, we've only sent 6 kegs of each of our World 8 Peach and Raspberry Sour and 6 kegs of our What Did You Do, Ray, the Burnt Marshmallow Brown. We've only sent 6 of those down, so they're going to be super, super limited. We're going to hit Catfish up because we know the boys at Catfish.
Yep.
They
listen too.
We know they listen.
Big shout out to those guys.
Yep. Hey, Kieran. We're gonna hit you up. I'm gonna send you an email before this episode even comes out. So
so this will be out next weekend. So it'll be the week that it just finished. So by the time you hear it, those kegs will go out.
9th of October. So that's around the time that so the kegs hit Melbourne next week, and we're going to start selling down there. So we'll get them out into the market. Anybody that listens down in Melbourne, keep an eye out. Go to the brewing page as well, and you'll see where they're up on there. But yeah, I mean that's it industry wise. So yeah,
it's time to drink some beer and eat some meat.
Yep.
All right. Thanks guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.